Welcome to The Becks, a podcast that explores multimedia horror with host Becky and Sydney. Join us as we talk about movies, books, video games, music, and much, much more.
Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Sydney Rebecca.
And I'm Rebecca Snow.
And we're the Becks. So we have once again rearranged the recording studio.
Jacob's old bedroom.
We're still recording out of a box, make no mistake.
Yeah. We will be having some kind of panels put up in here that are a little bit more soundproof because I know we get an echo because it's pretty much an open room right now.
Yeah. We need to get a bunch of egg cartons or something. And this room isn't very well heated, so we have a little heater going.
Yeah, there's no heat duct in this house. Or in this room or in the other bedroom upstairs. Only one bedroom has a heat duct in my house upstairs. I don't know why. Even the bathroom doesn't. It has an electric heater. Baseboard heater, so weird. I don't know. People are strange.
Well, this episode, we're going to do a listener story. Now, we still have only received one listener story.
You should see her face right now. She is disgusted by you all.
Yes.
Listener stories. Well, I know we have more listeners than one.
Yeah, we have 29 according to Spotify.
Woohoo!
So, come on now.
Story,
it
please.
It doesn't necessarily have to be like your story either. It could be, somebody else's in your family or, something like that. Somebody you know or what
friend,
have you.
Family member, whatever. If they want you to share.
Because I know for a fact that Lizzie's partner, Anthony, does not listen to this show. But this story is actually from his past.
Did we get permission to use their names? I'm sure they're fine with it. But yeah, let us know if you want us to mention your name too when you write in.
Yeah, we can keep it anonymous.
Yeah.
If necessary.
But I'm expecting more than one. This one, Sydney gets to read.
Yes, and Becky actually hasn't read it yet, so she's going to be reacting organically. Let's see how scary it is. It's pretty spooky, in my opinion. Alright, so the email reads, a story from my husband. He and his group of friends were relatively known in their hometown. None of them had a lot of money, but who does? The town was small, and in the corners of the streets were decrepit houses in need of repair. Some of the friends lived in those houses. Other friends at least had a roof over their head that didn't leak. And a few of the houses no one lived in. These houses were the most decrepit of them all. These friends had nothing else to do in this small town. They liked to break into the long-forsaken houses, maybe take a trinket or two, or have a chat in one of the designated houses of a friend to play Call of Duty split screen. If that tells you how long ago this was. Split screen doesn't really exist anymore. Not so much anyway. So one house had been abandoned since the 70s, and it seemed like it had been abandoned in a real hurry. If not for the dust and rust and mildew and mold and the discoloration of the wallpaper, you'd think the occupants were only gone for the night. They hadn't been around for decades, and no one is none the wiser for the motives. The furniture, the ashtrays, the books, family photos, they were all in place, all of them forgotten, unmoved, undisturbed, and it was at the edge of town.
Sorry.
At the end of a long driveway in the woods. And so the friends thought this is the place that they'd have to go to at night, otherwise what's the point, right? So only one of the friends had a new car. New for him, it was technically a shit box, but it worked, and the driveway paved deep into the woods, and it was cougar country, so they didn't want to walk. And driving was better anyway, more energy to explore the mystery. Before parking everyone, there were 5 young men, 2 brothers by blood, 2 by bond, and 1 friend who just tags along to make sure no one gets killed by being idiots. They were all just having a laugh, shooting the shit, not giving a shit. And after they parked in front of the house, the tone changed. No one knows why the original owners up and left, but the feeling they must have left when they left everything behind was there with all the stuff. They walked through an unlocked door, stepping on broken glass, smelling unventilated graffiti. Some things were missing, of course, as it had been abandoned since the 70s. There were bound to be looters and people who, stole things. It'd be foolish to think otherwise. So no one really wanted to touch anything. There was a thick air of dread. No one wanted to speak.
Why are they there? I mean, if you're going into this house and you're all of a sudden, like, the feeling hits you before you ever walk in, and then you still go in and nobody's talking to each other, yeah, I'm out, dude. I'm in the car and I'm gone. To hell with the 70s abandoned home.
Yeah, there was just totally, like, apparently a miasma of bad. So
I don't know why people don't listen to their inner voice that says, get the fuck out.
Well, one of them made the point to look for looters before getting comfortable. Like, in the event that they weren't friendly. Or, like, squatters or, whatever. Mm-hmm. And so they looked around. The house had a first floor, a second floor, and an attic. Room by room, they did a sweep. They heard others walking. At the time, it must have been other friends, hopefully. The air was getting colder. This takes place in Michigan. But it was summer, so outside was like 60 degrees, which is a cool summer, but not like... That's pretty average for a Michigan summer. We don't live in a warm climate. But the longer they stayed, the more cold it got. And they finally reached the attic, and there was one noose left undisturbed.
Wait. Okay, so I'm totally picturing, the whole time you're reading, I'm picturing like a ranch, a 1 level. But now we're a 2-level house, so now my whole brain needs to change.
No, you
There's
need to
an attic?
listen.
I know, but I'm listening.
The
But
house had a first floor, a second floor, and an attic.
okay,
Room
I
by
missed
room.
it.
Room by room, they did a sweep.
Okay.
They heard the others walking. They thought
Oh, okay,
it
that's
was
where I
each
missed
other.
it. I was
Yeah.
mad about them even staying there, so...
And splitting up, apparently.
So, one noose left, so were there more? Were there more that they could see?
Well, I think that's just the way she wrote it.
Okay.
So there was
Holy shit.
a noose just hanging in the attic. Just empty, hanging. And that freaked everybody the fuck out. They were like, this is it. We're getting the fuck out.
Yeah, I would be gone.
So they made the silent group decision to leave.
Again, still not talking.
Nope.
Haha.
They got into the car. The Shitbox Supreme. The engine stalls.
Oh, fuck, I'm running. Dude, I'm running. And in Michigan, okay, she said cougar country. So
Yeah.
there's not a lot of cougars in Michigan. I mean, there are some, and they're making a comeback for sure. But there's not a ton. So I'm taking my chances with the 1 or maybe 2 cougars. And I'm running because I'm not staying there where nobody's talking. There's bad juju. They all feel it. And now the car won't start.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Gone. Running.
So this is the thing, like, the car was old, but the friend who owned it was adamant that it was totally reliable, and they just needed to give it a second. So he tried to start it again. It stalls again. Now, the straight man, the friend who keeps everybody out of trouble, tries to, he's freaking out. He's like, this isn't right. The car has no reason to stall. They're in the middle of the woods. There's a noose inside the house. And they look up, and in the attic window, they can see someone standing in there.
Oh, dude, no. I am running. I am Forrest Gump. I am running.
So they all run out of the truck. They're like, fuck the truck. They bolt out of there. They're ready to brave bears, cougars, whatever. They don't want to stick around to deal with whatever's in the house.
Yeah, no, me either. I'm out.
They walked out of there. They all walked home. No one spoke the whole time. Everybody was just quiet and scared shitless.
So these are like pretty much, how old were they then? How old were the boys? The men.
I'm assuming they were like 15, 16.
Okay, so. kids.
Old enough to drive, but not old enough to be... Because when he lived where he lived, where this takes place, he was like a middle teenager.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he was a kid.
It was before he moved up where we are.
Okay.
So no one spoke until like the next day. Of course, the person who left his truck there had to like go back and get it because you can't just leave your only running vehicle there. So
I'm sending my parents, man. I'm being like, Dad, I can't go. I gotta go to school today.
So him and one other brave one walk back like in the middle of the day. Like when the sun is super high in the
Dude,
sky.
I'm taking someone with
So
a running
yeah,
car.
it was just the two of them. They walked back there. Well, they trespassed.
I don't care. I'm too scared to go alone. I'm taking someone whose car is running and not letting them shut it off, or a big tow truck man or something. I'm not doing it. Not.
They figured, like, okay, whatever's causing the truck to stall, they're just going to have to fix it. So they wanted to go there early in the day.
Tow truck it.
The house looks exactly as they left it. He tries to turn the key, and it starts just fine.
Yeah, no fuck.
And they never went back.
Good, smart ones. They learned. Can you imagine how scary that was for them to have to go back, though? I mean, literally, to know they're walking into that and they don't know what they're going to walk into. Is someone waiting for them? I mean, they knew no one was there, but...
Yeah. I can't...
It tried to keep them there.
Yeah, that's the thing that bothers me the most is, like, the... you always see it in movies and stuff like that, but for it to actually happen to you... I always think about, okay, so I don't know if this is just like me being weird, but I constantly, the way my house works is I live on the second floor of a 2-story building. I enter in through the landing and I can't reach the light switch until like 6 to 10 feet in. So during the winter, it gets dark early. When I get home from work, I can't see.
Yeah, I know. I don't like that. I don't like... When we went into your house the one time I've been there, I was like, no. No.
So I have to get to the light switch. And then, the light's at the top of the stairs, too, so it's still kind of dim at the bottom of the stairs.
You need a light down there, like a motion-activated light that turns on.
Well, that's almost worse, because you just open the door, the motion light activated, there's a murderer right there. Like.
Okay, so you don't want to know that the murderer's there?
No.
Do you keep that... You keep that door locked, right?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
But they could, I don't know.
I know. No, I would want to see. Okay, I'm going to get you a spotlight so you can spotlight it in there. But you won't because you're afraid to look in windows.
I am.
But if they're locked in there, you can shine the spotlight. If you see them, you can just run to your car and leave.
So I do this weird exercise too sometimes is I'll run up the stairs as fast as I can and like have my keys just gripped in my hand, not the right key, because I'm like picturing that this is really weird.
You're going to use your keys to stab someone.
Well, I'm picturing that someone is behind me chasing me and I have to unlock my door really quick, and I like, because in the movies they always fumble their keys and drop them and stuff like that. I like train myself not to do that and to get the right key and stick it in there and unlock it really quick. Do you ever do that? Is that weird?
No, but I'll put my keys between my fingers so I can use them as a weapon. So if I have to like turn around and punch someone in the eyeballs, stab them with the keys, I can. My dad told me to do that years ago.
No, I have.
So I do that. So I'll have them like stick it. But I don't now because I don't have a key to my car really. So, it just stays in my purse because I have a keyless entry.
Let's fucking talk about the new cars, okay? First of all, they took away keys, which were a great weapon. Very annoying. And also, the fobs are really expensive. Even more expensive to replace than just keys are.
Yeah.
Also, what the fuck is up with cars that when you put and this is relevant, I promise. When you put the car in park, all the doors unlock?
See, mine... Oh, I don't think mine does. I think just my door does.
I don't want any fucking door to unlock.
I know when I unlock my car to get in, it's only my door that opens. Unless I open the back door. then it'll open all of them.
I don't like that.
I know.
They
I
would
have that horrible where I'm always like worried about someone being in my back seat and I jump up as I'm driving down the road. Or
what is it? Was there like a movie where
I
that
think there was a
happened?
movie or a something
Like an
something
urban
like that.
legend?
Yes, I believe it's an urban legend. Terrifying.
Like the Hook Man or whatever.
The urban legend where they flash their lights at you, and then if you flash them back, they chase you down and kill you or whatever. Like, I sometimes won't flash people because I'm too afraid to. I'm like, nope, no. Nope. Nope. Nope, nope. She's looking at me. I'm just saying nope.
No, that's fair. I mean, technically,
there's a lot of things that scare me. Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, whoever fucking made the invention where you fucking put your car in park and then all the doors unlock, that was a man who did that. That was a man. Because a woman would never design a car like that.
Most men shouldn't because they want to protect women. But, yeah, air quotes.
Yeah, I just made air quotes.
I don't know. Crazy. But I'm not going out in the woods. I will not go into a house that's abandoned like that. That scares me. You never know what you might walk into.
So I found another short one to read just to pad out the runtime a little bit of this episode. I got it off of Reddit. This comes from user Ugly Pand. So like panda but without the A. It's a Home Alone story.
Okay, thanks for that.
So this, I mean, I was just kind of scrolling through and it's going to be spooky. So, thank you, Ugly Pand, for being a part of this episode. I didn't get your permission for this. I don't know if I need to. It's just it's public on Reddit, right? I can read it?
I think, I don't know. I don't know anything about Reddit or what you can or... We do not take credit for this. We're just sharing it.
No, yes, this is not our story. We did not write this up. Ugly Pand wrote this story. Who knows if it's true, but that's part of the fun of the internet, okay? So, it reads, "This happened over a decade ago when I was 12 years old. I live in a small town in Oklahoma, and in my neighborhood, the houses are fairly spread apart, separated by woods. It was a school day, so my grandma picked me up from school and brought me home. This was the first year that I got dropped off at my house alone. Before this, I would just go to my grandma's house after school. I would get dropped off at around 3, and my parents would be home around 4:30, not that big of a deal. That day, for some reason, my dad wasn't going to be home until later, around 7, and my mom, a teacher, wouldn't be home until around 8 because she had parent-teacher conferences at the school. This happened in early fall, so it wouldn't even really be dark until like 8:30. I did what I usually did when I got home. I ran upstairs, got on my Xbox 360, played Minecraft with my friends. Today it was just me and my friend Seth. I was playing for about 2 hours when I heard a car door shut in my driveway. No one should have been there until like 7 p.m. My house is set up to where my upstairs has windows that look over my driveway. So with my mic on and controller in hand, I went to the window to see who it was, thinking maybe my dad got home earlier than expected. I looked outside. It was a red truck. No one I know drives a red truck. The person pulled into the middle of my driveway sideways like he owned the place. When I looked out the window, I saw a man with a hat wearing a big camo hoodie and jeans. It was September, so no one should have been wearing a big hoodie and jeans in Oklahoma. Side note, I don't know anything about the weather in Oklahoma.
No, me either.
By the time I looked, he was already almost out of view, going up my walkway to my front door. I thought maybe it was one of my dad's friends or someone my dad hired to do something, but he would usually tell me if someone was going to be coming over. Soon after, I hear a knock at the door, then another. I go to my other window that has a better view of the walkway up to my front door. I see the guy walking back down the walkway. I switch and go back to looking through the windows overlooking my driveway. I'm relaying all this to Seth, still with my mic on. I tell Seth that he's walking back to his truck now. Instead, he walks past his truck and tries to open my garage side door. At this point, my heart sinks. I tell Seth that this guy just tried to get into my house. Mind you, it is literally broad day at like 5 p.m. Luckily, it was locked because sometimes we forget to lock it. My heart just dropped reading that, okay? After he tried the door, he starts walking to my back patio. I drop my headset and I quietly run down the stairs to see what he is doing. I get downstairs and stand behind the wall so I'm not visible from the back door / living room windows. I just listen. I hear him try to open the door. Then I hear a thud. It sounded like he dropped a brick on the ground or something. At this point, I'm more scared than I've ever been. I wanted to call my parents or grandma, but I didn't have a cell phone yet. The only phone in the house was in my kitchen. I would have to cross my living room to get there, and he would be able to see me if I went into there. A few seconds after the thud, I peeked around the corner, and he was gone. This is my worst nightmare.
Oh, yeah, me too. Terrified I would be. 'Cause where do you go?
Yeah.
You just can't get away.
I remember just to get off track for a second here. I remember when I first started staying home alone, I think I was a pretty mature, 11-year-old. But if I got to start thinking about it, like home invaders or whatever, I would work myself into a terrified frenzy.
Oh, I would too.
Even if no one was there.
I think I was 14, and we lived out, Sydney, out in the middle of nowhere on, acres and acres of land. Mm-hmm. I lived in the middle of an open field, so anyone could sneak up on us. You wouldn't know. And I convinced myself one night that there was someone out there. It was midsummer, so it was hot, so we didn't have air conditioning, all the windows open. And I literally went and got the shotgun, loaded it, and walked by every window screaming at the top of my lungs, I have a gun, and I am not afraid to use it. I will shoot you. You better run. I had convinced myself that someone was breaking into my house. My parents got there, and all they did was laugh at me.
It's so rude.
I know. I'm sure I was funny. Very dramatic.
I don't know, man.
Oh, it's scary.
Yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
And I mean, you want to prove that you're, mature enough to be home alone, but then you get shit like that happening.
Yeah, I just would rather my family stay there with me. Just don't leave me alone. Take me with you. I'm good.
So, back to the story.
Yes.
I run back upstairs and put my headset back on, telling Seth that he just tried to open the back door as well. As I'm telling him this, I hear a car door shut. Tell Seth to call the fucking police.
Yeah, I don't know why.
By the way, I guess if you're 12 and panicking, it doesn't necessarily occur to you.
Yeah.
As I'm telling him this, I hear a car door shut. This time, when I look out the window, he finally got in his truck. I looked at the truck closer, and I noticed the only thing he has in his truck bed was a crowbar and shovel. He sat in that truck for what felt like a few minutes. During this time, Seth told me to get my iPod and take a picture of his license plate. He was parked to where I couldn't see it. Then he drove backwards out of my driveway and down the road. A few minutes after he was confirmed gone, I went downstairs to see what the thud could have been. I get to the back door and see that the doormat was moved. Both big plant pots had been moved as well. He was looking for a key. Holy fuck.
Don't put keys outside in anything. Not a good idea.
We have a hidden key back there, too. The key to the back door was under one of the smaller plant pots on a ledge near the door, not the bigger ones that he had checked under.
Oof.
I went to the front porch and all the pots there looked like they had been moved, too. I don't know what I would have done if he was able to find the key or if he just broke in. After he left, I called my dad and told him what happened. When my dad got home, he had a cop come over and I told him what had happened and gave him a description. The guy never came back.
It's horrible. Did I ever tell you about Keegan?
No.
So, working where we work, Keegan called me. Actually, no. One called me at work and told me I needed to go home because my child had someone come to the house. We actually had called. I think they called me. It might have been. There was so much happening, but
how old was he? Did you say?
Keegan was staying by himself. So let me think. Probably 13. No. We moved here when he was 11 or 12. So he was probably 12, and he was home alone. I think Vince was either at work or at dialysis. I'm not sure if at the time Vince was sick yet. Jake was at work somewhere. Anyways, I think Keegan was probably 12, maybe 13 at the very oldest. And he had let the girls out in the front yard. And we lived right next to your brother.
The girls is in the
my dogs. We let the dogs out in the front yard. And he was watching them. And these two guys pulled up in a truck, got out of their truck, walked up. They parked so he couldn't see their license. And they were facing, going north on Hughes Street.
Yeah.
Okay. So he couldn't see their license. They walked towards the yard, and of course my dogs get a little feisty. They're dachshunds, so they bark, and they don't like people they don't know. Mm-mm. So this dude's walking up, the one's staying by the truck, and the other one's walking up to the house, and he's like, will they bite? And Keegan's like, yes. And he's like, are your parents home? Keegan's like, yeah, my mom's in the kitchen. And
he's so smart for that.
Yeah, he is. And he's like, was your dad home? And he said, yeah, he's in the bedroom taking a nap. Why? Well, can I come in the house and talk to your mom? Yep. So Keegan
I just made a fucking baffled face.
Yeah. So he was like, all of these questions were a typical kidnapper murderer.
Yeah, for sure.
Are your parents home? Can I come in? Blah, blah, blah. My kid knew enough to handle it properly. And we always kept our back door locked, so that was no big deal. But he got the girls in. They actually came to the door for him. He was like, come on. And he shut the door and locked the door and called. I think he called me, honestly. And then I called 911 and said, I need an officer at my house now. And I left work and came home. But yeah, it was terrifying. I was scared. He was scared. He said, Mom, I tried to get a picture of their license plate or to see it, and I couldn't.
So when he went back in the house, did they leave in a hurry?
Yeah. He said they drove away super fast so he couldn't get their license plate.
Why would they be casing a house like that in the middle of the day, too?
I don't know.
And
it was a dead end.
Right.
So did they just see a young kid out there and thought, But exactly all the questions. The police really didn't do anything. They took his description of the truck. It was a truck. But yeah, he was scared to be alone there for quite a while.
I would be too, because what if they came back?
Yeah, and every truck we saw, he was like, I think that might be it.
Oh.
It was bad. It was scary. I was so angry. I was like, please come back. Please come back when I'm home. Because I will drop them in my front yard. I'm not a violent person. I don't believe in gun violence. But I'm telling you what, if you come near my child, I will do whatever I have to do. I don't care if they're grown men. I will do whatever I have to do.
It's like when I hear about shit like that, I'm like, how does anybody, like I'm on anxiety medication. So obviously I don't know what the base level of anxiety is normal for a person. Probably they would say 0, which seems crazy. Anyway, but like, how do you have children when there's shit like this that happens? Like, I think I would be the worst helicopter parent ever.
So I was super normal before children. I was an auntie, and I was the most relaxed, fun auntie you would ever meet. All the kids will tell you. And then I had my children, and it all changed. And my kids will tell you I was a helicopter mom.
I honestly don't blame any parent from being a helicopter parent because of the way everything is. I know as a child, it's very stifling and not healthy, to be fair.
No, it's not.
But I get it.
I probably could have gave my kids a lot more freedom. Well, Jacob, whatever. He did whatever he wanted because he just was, ugh.
He was he was
my problem
he was
child.
The troublemaker.
He was going to do what he wanted no matter what anybody said. Got a lot of his dad in him in that instance. But there were, I don't know. Just the fear of something happening to your children. It's hard. I told you that one thing that I have somewhere. I think I still have it. Said having a child is like having your heart walk around outside your chest for the rest of your life.
Oh.
And it is. I mean, you love your kids like there's no tomorrow. And especially as a mom, well, a good mom, because I'm sure there's moms out there that don't care.
Yeah.
But as a mom that's dedicated to her kids, it's hard. It's hard even when they're an adult. I want to fix everything for both of them all the time. Can't, but I'd like to. But yeah, I was normal. Not so much anymore.
So someone did comment on this Reddit story. They said, why didn't your friend call the police for you?
Yeah, that's what I don't understand.
And OP said, "It all happened so fast. We were also just dumb kids not really thinking. I'm pretty sure I told him something like, if he breaks in, don't say anything on the mic and call the police. But he was an online friend. He didn't even know my address, so it wouldn't have mattered."
Oh.
Which I didn't think about.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Because, like, you shouldn't give your address out to strangers
To an
on the
online
internet.
friend, yeah. So she was, kind of in a hard spot there.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So,
No, that's creepy.
yeah, I'm trying to think if there's been anything that creepy to me that happened when I was home alone. But I don't think so. I think it was all just, like, made up in my head, like...
That was mine, too. I don't think anything ever bad happened, like some stranger came to my house and tried to kidnap me or hurt me or...
I remember a friend's dad. I was walking to my friend's house. Like, literally his daughter's house. I was walking to his daughter's house. And he was driving up the road, and he saw me walking. He pulled over, and he was like, "Hey, do you need a ride?" And it scared me so bad.
Oh, I imagine, even though you knew you were
yeah.
going to his house.
Yeah, I was like, no. I'm sure he thought I was such a weirdo for that, but I was just like, no. I'm not accepting a ride from anybody, even if I know them, apparently.
Yeah. Well, you were told not to as a kid. So.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Scary.
Like, I was okay with being in his house, but not driving in a car with him. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe it's that isolation of being alone in a vehicle.
Yeah.
That you can't get out of if they decide to take you somewhere and do something weird.
And he was never weird. He was so nice all the time. But, I don't know. They're always nice until they're not.
Very true.
Constant vigilance, ladies. Children.
Yeah.
Men, too.
Yes. Roger and I looked up statistics of kidnappings and trafficking, and actually more men go missing in the U.S. than women.
That's interesting.
I think, though, it doesn't say what they go missing from. So
Oh,
is
yeah.
it they get in a fight and someone kills them and ditches them, or, there's a lot of different. But
Or they just, leave their family and go off the grid or whatever.
yeah, so. But I'm sure there are those that are kidnapped and disappear.
No, I'm sure, too. I mean, it's just like anything else.
Yeah.
Happens to everybody.
It's terrifying. It's terrifying. Scary. Things are scary. And then the more you think about it, the more you can convince yourself that it's all happening around you, too. So.
Yeah. I'm going to be so scared driving home today. No, I'm just kidding. James better be home, though.
Have you ever been driving, though, and you think about that? Like, what if someone jumps in front of your car and you hit them and
Yeah.
you're out there in the middle of nowhere?
I also think about people following me in my car all the time.
Yes.
That really scares me.
I try to remember to fill my gas tank because I don't ever want to get to the point where I run out if somebody's following me. Yep. What do you do then? What do you do if you're trying to... Because they tell you to switch directions or drive to someplace public. What if you're out in the middle of nowhere and you're trying to get to someplace
Like
public?
where we fucking live, you mean?
Yes. And you're trying to get to a public place and you run out of gas because you're dumbass.
New fear unlocked. My gas tank is never dipping below half a tank now.
Right? Right?
Thanks a lot, Becky.
Sorry, Roger's mother did it to me.
Dude, you're right, though.
I know. Roger's mom was like, you need to be prepared. You should always have your gas tank, at least over half a tank. And I was like, huh? But she's right. What if the grid goes down? What if you're out in the middle of nowhere and someone's following you? And speaking of which, you need to go with me tomorrow night. I don't want to go by myself.
I'll go with you.
Okay.
It's tomorrow night?
Wednesday night, yeah. The wedding's Saturday.
Oh, shit. We're going to be out there so late.
I know.
It's okay. It's fine. There's this really podunk town that we have to go to now to get our nails and hair done, and it's like we joke that we live in the middle of nowhere. This is like the middle of nowhere.
It's so dark.
It's so dark.
It's so dark getting there, and there's no easy way to get there.
There's no street lights in this place. It's a dark, forsaken, just terrible place full of sadness and misery.
Except when we get to the salon.
Yeah, that's
happiness and good things.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's like a shining beacon of light.
Yes. We miss her being close.
Yes.
Can you tell?
In civilization. What little civilization we can scrape together where we live.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's going to be all for this episode. We just wanted to put something out quick here because we didn't record for Thanksgiving, obviously. We were busy stuffing our faces with Thanksgiving food.
Too much.
And so this is just a quick little thing that we'll have up this week. And then next week when we upload, we'll be talking about Slewfoot. One of the greatest books of all time.
It's pretty good.
It's exciting.
I'm excited.
So
I've
read the book twice. Becky read it for the first time. She listened to the audiobook, which I'm told is really good.
It was really good. I really enjoyed it.
So we'll have different perspectives to speak on. So look out for that one. And if you enjoyed this episode, please consider liking, commenting, sharing.
Sharing. We need more listeners. We need to go viral, people.
Yeah. Also, consider emailing us your own scary stories, please.
Yeah, I'd like to do an episode like this once a month with listener stories.
Yeah, that would be really sweet.
Chit-chat and find something fun to talk about. So we all know that some of you have interesting stories. Like I said, you can be anonymous. Just email us and let us know that you don't want to share your name or anything like that, and we'll just read the story.
Yeah. Because I don't mind pulling off of Reddit, but it's nice when it's people you know, because then it's like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Freaky shit happens close to me.
Exactly.
Today the pod, tomorrow the world. My name is Sydney Rebecca.
And I'm Rebecca Snow.
And we're the Becks.